think the main point of food coming across is 2 points. One is that we allow cheap produce to undercut our farmers. Two, often the fruit and vegetables that we get in our country don't have to, the growers do not have the stringent rules in regard to pesticides as we do in Canada. And farmers are understandably upset. You know, they're allowed to spray the heck out of some grapes in Chile, for example, or fruit from somewhere in South America, but our farmers can't use those chemicals, and yet we allow that fruit to come into Canada. So there's something wrong here. You know, whether you agree with spraying or you don't agree with spraying, it's simply not allowed.
I was just talking with Alex here about a great documentary which David Suzuki narrates, is A Silent Forest, and it explains how this technology is getting out to the wildernesses and what's happening with organic farmers around the world because of this technology, and because it destroys the life of the plant. Like, it's going to interfere with as the air filter with the planet. So I mean, who's to say what can happen with this kind of technology? But I mean, great documentaries as well, like you were recommending as part of your tour. There's Future of Food, The World According to Monsanto, Food Inc. Jeffrey Smith is a great author. You know, like we were saying before, like in Nelson, the community came together, and now they have made it a GMO-free zone. No farmer can come in there with GMO seeds. So like I was saying with Alex here, is I think that's something that we need to work on here in the Okanagan, is make this a GMO-free zone. What's your feelings on that?
Well, I think you'll get support for this. I think from people from all different political leanings. I don't think there's any farmer in this area that wants to be confronted with a GMO apple, for example. So it's a matter of working through the regional district to get them to adopt a resolution. You know, getting each of the Soils Council and all of the town council to do that. And I think that it's feasible. You know, it's a statement. It just basically shows that people are against this technology, and they see this as a threat to farmers, and specifically if we ever find a day that genetically modified alfalfa will be released into the environment, this is huge, because that could mean the potential downfall of the organic industry, especially those people that use alfalfa for nitrogen fixation, that feed their cattle or organic alfalfa pellets. So that's just an example. So we've got that, and we've got the apple. And I know the BC fruit growers are dead against the genetically modified.
Yeah, I spoke with Joe Sardini, and he says they're demanding the labeling of GMOs because coincidentally that Monsanto or the government will not back the farmers if there's any repercussions from the consumer, that they decide that they don't want this product. So all these farmers that started growing this, all of a sudden if the public doesn't want it, they're not subsidized, nothing is, so I mean they can't even back the farmers that will grow this for them. So that says something right there. So this is something that would you support, a GMO-free Okanagan?
Of course.
So this is something, again, like going back to the local level. It used to be we the people, it's we the consumer now. We decide what we're going to have on our dinner table at the end of the day. It's where you place that dollar. I mean, most people, like you were saying, with this whole American-Canadian NAFTA agreement, I mean, people don't realize that it's taking 1,200 to 2,400 miles for food to get to their table. But meanwhile, you take your coffee, go sit on your deck outside, and you can see the farmer. And why is his produce not sitting on my table? So it's up to us, we, the people here, to fix this, and I mean, it's tough, I mean, it's sad to say that, like our Liberal government, I mean, it's been in the papers too, they do not support the local farmer.
Our province is the worst province in Canada for supporting farmers. The amount of money that goes into farming is less, I believe, than in Newfoundland. And that's a disgrace. We're an agricultural producing province. So we need, we need to have this issue has to become a major issue in the next provincial election.
Well, is it city council elections are coming up as well, so when you look at your city councilors here, you need to know if they stand for a genetically GMO-free Okanagan, you know?
It's 3 years, but we have a chance. Some people get discouraged with the elections and politics, but if we don't do anything, nothing will happen. I could have sat back in Parliament and not done anything in regard to GMO foods, and sure, my bill didn't pass, but I think working with Lucy, with the Canadian Biotechnology Action Network and other people, we pushed it forward. For the first time in history, we had a discussion on this.
Yeah, I know.
So
I watched it.
So that's we can make change. And I think we have to have that optimism that the late Jack Layton talked about. We have to have this optimism that we can make things better. And I think that when we have any sorts of election, this is the time to put the issues forward. Let's pinpoint. And I'm just speaking here just impartially. Let's pinpoint all the different political parties and say, where do you stand on this issue? Where do you stand?
And then back it. And if you don't follow through,
then,
I mean,
that's
technically,
right.
I mean, I don't know. When anybody else who starts a job, you got a 3-month trial, and then you could be fired at any time. So if you don't follow through with what you say, you should be fired immediately. I don't get this. Instead, you don't pay taxes for the rest of your life. I don't know who came up with. Well, I was.
We need, people need to get involved. More so than
People have gotten complacent and they don't realize that when community meetings, you got to get out there. I mean, you are the change at the end of the day. So be the change you want to see. So get involved. And that's another thing with some of the farmers that they can't understand. Speaking with Maria from Sesson Farm, she goes, "We try to grow. We're growing in the organic way here, and yet we have to pay more to be certified organic. And meanwhile, it should be the other way around. If you want to use Monsanto products, which are toxic and with all these side effects, you don't. You pay less. It doesn't make sense what's going on here. So it's now the Corporation of Canada, the Corporation of BC, Corporation of Oliver. I mean, it's just a corporate world, and it's all about the bottom line at the end of the day, and they're entities with no souls. And
I guess once again, we can turn that around.
Yeah.
We can turn that around because ultimately we have a say, and we have to retain that optimism. If we want to change the way things are done, then we have to get involved.
Yeah.
The next step is to really for people to look and see who they're voting for in the municipal elections. The next thing in our province, there will be a provincial election. So let's pinpoint the 2 major parties, or 3 or 4, see exactly where they stand on these issues, and park our vote in the right place.
Yeah.
We have that chance to do that.
What about, what about you running for the leader of the NDP? Okay. Something tells me everyone here in the Okanagan will be voting
Well,
for it.
Kevin, there's a woman looking at me sitting over in the corner that if I had said yes, she'd probably walk out the door and
Oh, really?
But if I were 10 years younger, I may think about it. It's stressful enough. There's so much pressure just being an MP. I can't imagine. Well, I know. I've talked with Jack, and I've seen. We've had discussions with him, and I've seen how he's constantly in touch and moving, flipping around the country, and being up on the issues. You need a lot of energy, in your life. We'll find. Nobody will replace Jack, but we'll get a leader who will continue to, and we'll work together to continue our movement.
So with some of these moves, okay, and a lot of people raise these questions, but the media won't do it. But these are pretty much treasonous acts that the Conservative government is committing on the people. It's the same thing with the Liberal when they support them in some of their bills going on, like the Consumer Product Safety Bill, Bill C-36, this whole GMO technology. I mean, this is harmful to we the people here of Canada. How come is it let's say yourself can't bring this up in the Senate and you're committing treason, you should be under arrest immediately for what you are doing. Why is it that nobody's doing something to stop this whole conservative?
Well, I'd be hesitant to use harsh words. I think that I do know that there's a tremendous influence of corporate Canada on this government. I do know that. So now we just have to somehow break that influence so that the next time, 50 lobbyists come on the Hill to lobby against a bill on genetic modified organisms, we get politicians that won't listen to them. Now, we have an opposition party that doesn't fit the mold of those two major parties. So if those guys came and lobbied our MPs, I think they would probably politely listen to them and thank them for being there, but would vote to retain a bill dealing with genetically modified organisms. So the climate's changing.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to get more, obviously I'm with the NDP, we need to get more of us elected, or people from other parties elected that buy into the agenda of retaining our sovereignty as a nation. That's what it boils down to. All of this stuff is an infringement on our sovereignty. And I think if we look at elections through that lens, and then we try then to elect people and political parties that stand up for our country, that say we can maintain friendly relations with other countries, trade agreements, but let's not do that by selling our soul.
Yes.
And that's the key. And these people, the conservatives and liberals, they're not bad people. They've been elected. They want to help others, but they buy into that philosophy. So we have to, their constituents and those people that surround them have to try to change their minds, to convince them that that direction is the wrong direction.
Well, I think it's a lot of the immediate gain from it because of the corporate support, the funding, and they don't realize the long-term effects. And for them, if they don't look, if they think ignorance is bliss, but we're beyond that now with this type of technology that's coming out here.
I think we have to look at it. We have to ensure that we have independent research in regard to this technology. That's the first step. And then we have to kind of analyze, take it one step at a time, and ensure that we, our voice is heard. And people have to become more involved than ever now.
Yeah.
Because as an opposition, for example, even if all of our opposition votes, the Conservatives still outnumber us because they have a majority. So we can't stop anything they want to do. The only way it will be stopped is if they get pressure from the people.
Yeah, but they're not listening. I mean, they've proven that time and time again. They don't listen to the people anymore. Just like Bill C-36 again. 40,000 signatures, and yet they still passed the bill. So I thought we had laws in place here, the Constitution, our Charter of Rights here. To not allow governments to be able to, force things like this, like what's going on. Like, you should be, as the opposition party, be able to say, no, that's wrong and we don't support it, whether you're outnumbered or not. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
It's our system.
Yeah, it's crazy the way this system is set up. And again, it all goes back to the mighty dollar, and there's so many people out there that are pulling for an economic collapse here so that we can get rid of the money system and go back to just living as people again and stop being based on a dollar bill, for God's sakes, and hence the whole local supporting locals, why I started this, we got to reconnect here as a community. We got to become informed, get out there for community meetings, come out for events, voice your opinion, and we better do it quick. Anyways, thank you very much, Alex. Would you like to end with anything, or do you pretty much?
Well, no, I'd just like to thank you for doing this, for keeping this issue alive. I'm hoping that as many people as possible will attend our forums.
Can you say the dates and locations?
Sharon, okay, 19th of September, 7 o'clock at the Nelson United Church in Nelson. The 20th in Grand Forks at the Seniors Hall, 7 o'clock. 21st in the Soyuz at 2 o'clock at the Sonora Center. That same evening, on the 21st, in Karamias at the Victory Hall at 7 o'clock. And on Thursday, 7 o'clock at the Legion in Princeton. So that will be our grand tour on GMO. So I'm hoping that people can come out and ask all sorts of questions, make comments. It should be a lot of fun.
Perfect. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you.